So, in our meditation practice, or walking on the center path, as it were, we have to have some ideas of how to practice sometimes that are a little bit less formal or a little bit more applicable in ways we can think of it. So let's think of it as our practice as like a lotus. This is a little lotus flower here. Lotuses are a very common Buddhist icon. We see them at temples. You see them in next to statues, and this is a little electric one. It has like little lights in it and stuff like that. And we see it because of a couple reasons. One, because it's very beautiful, and as it blooms and opens up, it tends to be very clean, and it's so pristine. But it comes from dark, deep, nasty mud, usually with like cesspools would grow lotuses that are quite beautiful, and they have a beautiful scent, and they even out of all of that muck. And that's how we can think of our practice. Now our practice has to have a seed, and that seed is the process of meditation. And if we let that seed, our mental thoughts, drop into the water, into our mind, and sink to the bottom of that mud, as we become still, of course the mud will clear and the water will be clear, but we'll still have that seed down deep in the mud, deep in the dark, deep in the darkest part of our psyche. And that's where our slow practice of breathing, calmness, sitting, being still, seeing, these kind of things can start to develop. It will sprout if the conditions are right. But notice those conditions have to have things like darkness and muck and decay inside in order to allow that seed to sprout. It doesn't need sunlight. It doesn't need all this light and all this stuff. That's later. To sprout, it needs that the proper conditions. Okay, and that's our beginning practice. Our proper conditioning is our sitting posture and our approach to the meditations and how we concentrate on our breathing and our body and our postures and our way we start the meditations. All of these kind of things make a difference. And that's the part of the sprouting. Now, later on, you can, as it starts to grow, it's not even seen yet. It's still in that mud, that muck, that cesspool material, that decaying matter. It's still inside there. And slowly, as it grows, we begin, as we practice, and as we practice, just like with planting a seed, we have to wait for it to sprout. And we check on it every day. Of course, in the beginning, we're over attentive, and we check too much and there's nothing there, we can get discouraged. So it's important to wait, because eventually it's going to break through the ground and break through that mud up into the water, and we're going to be able to see it. We're not going to be able to touch it yet. It's not beautiful yet. It's not wonderful yet, but it is already starting to take form. And as that stalk comes to the surface of the water, and eventually will have a little bud, and eventually will bloom into the lotus, then we see the beauty of it all. When we see the inside, and then we can do more seeds for more thoughts, perhaps, or help other people learn to meditate and to find those levels of relaxation and levels of contemplation and levels of realization. Because we want to take our practice from that religious concept. Let's go ahead and take it out of that. It's important to have it in the beginning. Take it into a philosophical process where we actually have to think and contemplate, and then into a spiritual process where we ourselves are starting to see the sublime in the idea of that blossom coming out of that terrible condition of the mud. So keep your meditations going. Do meditations daily if you can, okay? And really, 5 minutes is enough to start. Maybe 10 minutes if you can. But center yourself a place, a time, if you can, a time and a situation. So have control of as many of those things as you can to perpetuate your ability to continue your practice and make it a habit. Good luck with that, with meditation and following this little path in the center. This is Reverend Sean. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to look for other videos. I'll post I think on this side will be a subscribe button, and then there'll be a couple like other videos you can watch on there. We're doing a lot more on meditation and on the practice itself to bring it into everyday life. This is Reverend Sean. You guys take care of yourselves. May you bloom beautifully.